Look at the sweat on my face right now and realize that the fear you see in my eyes is not for the cameras, but for the absolute financial catastrophe unfolding in the global dark pools while you are being told everything is under control. We have officially hit the 0 hour where the hidden liquidity blackout has created a hole in the global financial system so large that no amount of central bank printing can fill it. While the mainstream media distracts you with meaningless political theater, the world's bullion banks are facing a terminal crisis that is forcing them to cover up the fact that the actual physical reserves have been moved to a private ledger. I have spent the last 72 hours analyzing the leaked internal movement data from the world's primary exchanges, and what I found proves that the Seesaw Mechanism has finally snapped, and the $30 trillion heist of the middle class has moved into its final stage. In the next few minutes, I'm going to expose the exact mechanism of this dark exchange and show you why the JON CC archive is the only place left where you can find the truth before the exits are permanently banned and your wealth is liquidated. The current market price you see on your screen is a total fabrication, a simulated number generated by a high-frequency AI algorithm that is desperately trying to prevent a mass panic in the Western Hemisphere, while the real wealth is being drained. Meanwhile, in the background, the reality of the physical world has shifted, creating a liquidity trap that is pulling the last remaining ounces of gold and silver from London and New York at a rate that is mathematically unsustainable for the current system. This is the great disconnect that the elite have been terrified you would notice, because once the public realizes that the paper price is a lie, the rush for physical assets will become a stampede that no government can stop. John AG was the first to warn us about this seesaw, but today, the JON CC data proves that the elite are no longer just manipulating the price. They are actively sabotaging the global delivery systems to hide the fact that the actual reserves are gone. We are standing at the edge of a financial singularity where the paper world and the physical world collide. Artificial intelligence has been weaponized into a wealth suppression engine that operates with a level of precision and cruelty that was previously unimaginable in the history of human commerce. These algorithms are programmed to detect retail buyer patterns and to trigger automated flash crashes every time the physical demand from the East threatens to expose the total insolvency of the Western banking cartels. This is algorithmic warfare conducted against the sovereign individual, a total resource heist where the most advanced technology on the planet is being used to ensure that you stay trapped in a devaluing currency while the elite accumulate the world's real wealth in the dark. The gap between reality and the screen is the smoking gun that proves the free market is a myth, a digital cage designed to keep you from owning the very assets that will be the only currency of the post-reset era. If you are not watching the secret bullion movements right now, you are literally flying blind into a hurricane designed to erase your financial existence. The central banks are stuck in a liquidity death trap where they can no longer suppress the price of hard assets without causing a total collapse of their own balance sheets. And the current market volatility is the first visible sign of their terminal failure. They are using CME, dark moments, and system glitches as manual overrides to pause the game whenever the physical truth threatens to break the resistance levels in the West. This is a rigged casino where the house has run out of physical metal to back its bets, and they are now resorting to cash settlements to pay off the few people who are smart enough to demand their delivery. This is a systemic default in slow motion, a managed catastrophe where the elite are trying to secure their own lifeboats while they tell you to keep your money in the sinking ship of the old banking system. The JON CC mission is to provide you with the data they are trying to delete, because in the coming weeks, the Monday chaos will become the new normal. The global bullion drains have reached a level of terminal depletion that has forced the primary exchanges to effectively bail in their own members, creating a black hole in the global supply that is pulling in every ounce of available metal from the retail market. This is why you see the banks are stuck headlines and the markets are broken warnings, because the physical flow of wealth from the West to the East is now a one-way street that ends in the private vaults of a new superpower. The price in the East is the real world price, and the only reason the Western price hasn't met it yet is because the AI is deep-faking the inventory numbers to prevent a total national security crisis. We are witnessing the execution of the currency archive warnings, where the paper lie of the West is finally exposed by the physical fact. If you do not have physical possession of your assets today, you are essentially holding a ticket in a game where the prizes have already been stolen. The psychological stress being inflicted on the global population is a deliberate nudging strategy to keep you in a state of chronic distraction so that you do not notice the final liquidation of your purchasing power. When you see the sweat on my brow and the panic in the markets, that is the biofeedback of a dying system that is trying to take as many people with it as possible. JON CC is the signal in the noise, providing you with the cold reality that the mainstream media is paid to ignore, because they are owned by the same financial cartel that is draining the world's vaults. Reclaiming your cognitive autonomy is the first step toward physical sovereignty. And it starts with the realization that the current currency system is a weaponized liability designed to make you a permanent debt slave in the new digital feudalism. The universal basic income and the central bank digital currencies are the digital chains that will be forced upon the masses once the great devaluation has wiped out the old banking system and left the public in a state of synthetic poverty. This new money will be fully programmable, allowing the AI superstate to switch off your ability to buy food, energy, or travel if your social credit score falls below the required threshold of obedience. This is the ultimate trap, where you're given tokens of survival in exchange for your total submission to the technocratic dictatorship being built in the shadows of the current market crash. The global market is being reset to eliminate the independent class and to create a subscription economy where you own nothing. Escaping this managed reality requires a move into analog assets like physical gold and silver, which exist outside of the government's digital grid. The space mining and asteroid abundance narratives are high-tech smokescreens designed to keep the population from competing for the real resources that are currently being monopolized by the global elite on Earth. While they tell you that resources are infinite, they are banning the use of natural energy and physical cash on our planet, creating a resource apartheid where the masses are managed in smart cities, while the elite escape to a level of abundance you aren't allowed to see. The global market is being fractured to ensure that the common man never achieves energy independence or physical sovereignty, making him a permanent tenant in a world he used to own. True wealth is the physical reality of the hard world, and the $100 silver reset is the event horizon that marks the end of the digital deception and the beginning of the era of physical power. The quantum singularity is the final kill switch for all digital wealth, as the birth of quantum computing will allow the state to decrypt and seize every private wallet and bank account in a single global sweep. This is the nuclear reset that the central banks are holding in reserve to delete the national debt and start over with a clean ledger that they control with absolute authority. The JON CC archive is tracking the quantum readiness of the elite, who are already moving their wealth into analog assets that are quantum-proof. If your survival strategy is 100% digital, you're technologically vulnerable to the final reset that is being prepared in the secret laboratories of the AI superstate. The current market gap is the analog warning in a digital world, a reminder that matter is the only thing that can't be hacked by a quantum processor. The digital twin of the global economy is currently being used to simulate the total collapse of the US middle class, to see how much economic pain it takes to trigger a total surrender of property rights to the state. They are running stress tests on your psychology to see which narratives are the most effective at managing the mass panic during the Great Reset. The global market is a rigged experiment, and you are the subject whose wealth is being calibrated to zero to satisfy the algorithmic efficiency of the technocratic class. Breaking the simulation requires a nonconformist life, using physical cash, holding metal, and building physical networks that are invisible to the AI superstate. You must become a ghost in their machine if you wish to retain any semblance of the freedom your ancestors fought for. The seesaw is slamming into the US floor, and the current price disconnect is the visual proof that the paper manipulation has finally failed and that the physical reality is taking over the global price discovery process. We are seeing market rigging so shameless and desperate that even the institutional investors are beginning to sweat and panic as they realize they can no longer hedge their existential risk in a system that is fundamentally broken. This is the death of the derivative and the birth of the physical, as the real world of the East exposes the paper lie of New York and London once and for all. The global market is trapped in a death spiral of debt and delusion, and the only way out is a violent repricing that will liquidate the paper holders and validate the physical owners in a single session. The final move is the emergency confiscation of all private gold and silver, a measure that will be justified as a patriotic act to save the national currency during the Monday chaos of the Great Reset. This is why the elites knew and why they have been quietly siphoning the vaults for decades while telling you to buy digital proxies and paper certificates that can be canceled at the push of a button. The global market is being purged of individual independence, making the physical possession of hard assets the most dangerous and rewarding act of the 21st century. JON CC is your emergency channel through this legal storm, providing the off-grid strategies you need to preserve your property from the AI superstate. The patina on the brow of the central bankers is the ultimate proof. Take control of your information feed, take control of your neural privacy, and take control of your physical reality, because the mainstream ledger is being scrubbed by AI to erase the truth of the Great Reset from history. The global market is a battlefield for your financial soul and your biological survival, and the weapon of data is the only thing that can decode the algorithm of your planned obsolescence. Stay focused on the international arbitrage, stay vigilant of the US market halts, and never let the media-induced panic dictate your sovereign strategy for the coming collapse. We are the JON CC Archive, the last stronghold of financial sanity and physical truth in a world of digital madness and paper lies. The checkmate is accelerating, and the $100 silver reset is the physical proof. The day of the Great Reset will be a day of silence for the mainstream media and a day of total terror for those who trusted the system. But for the JON CC community, it will be the day of graduation into total financial sovereignty. The wealth of the world is not vanishing. It is simply changing owners, moving from the paper lies of the West to the physical reality of the East and the sovereign individuals. The global market is fractured, the banks are trapped, but the informed man is free to build the future on his own terms. This is the fulfillment of the currency archive warnings, and we are the architects of the post-reset world where hard assets are the only standard that matters. Stay physical and keep your eyes on the sweat of the elite. The final conclusion is that the $100 silver reset is the most significant event of our lifetimes. A total reevaluation of what it means to be wealthy, secure, and free in the age of artificial intelligence. Do not wait for the mainstream permission to protect your family. By then, the vaults will be sealed, and the physical metal will be priceless and unavailable. Take your physical sovereignty today, while the digital mask is still glitching, and lead your community into the future with knowledge and assets that the state cannot touch. This is JON CC, and this is the strategic archive of the final financial reset, where we turn the panic of the elite into the prosperity of the sovereign. Stay bold, stay informed, and remember, the patina on my face is the reflection of the economic fire. The final word is execution, because the time for theory is officially over and the time for action is here, as the $100 silver reset exposes the fragility and insolvency of the digital era. The currency archive is complete, the JON CC vision is manifest, and the future belongs to those who hold the assets and control the data. Thank you for trusting the data and for being part of the digital resistance against the AI superstate. The markets are broken, the system is failing, but we are ready to take our place as the architects of the new world. Stay sovereign, stay informed, and stay JON CC until the Great Reset is history and the physical truth is the global standard once again. Your destiny is no longer in the hands of the banks. The final move of the central bank cartel will be a cyber pandemic that wipes out all digital records of private wealth, leaving the state as the only source of truth for your existence and your assets. This is the nuclear option that will be blamed on foreign actors, but the data shows it is an inside job to clear the quadrillion-dollar debt that the system can never repay. The global market is primed for this strategic disruption, and the only insurance policy that will pay out is physical silver and gold held in private possession outside of the banking grid. Do not let the digital convenience lead you into economic oblivion. The real world is calling you to anchor your wealth before the storm of the century arrives and wipes the digital slate clean. The seesaw is about to break, and the weight of the paper lie is finally too much for the physical floor of the global market to bear, leading to a catastrophic repricing of every asset on the planet. You have to position yourself now in the quiet seconds before the CME goes dark and the Monday chaos becomes the permanent reality for those who stayed behind. The global market is a trap for the uninformed, but for the JON CC community, it is the greatest opportunity in 5 centuries to reclaim our natural sovereignty and inherited wealth. Stay focused on the vault drains, stay skeptical of the official narrative, and never let the AI manage your financial destiny. We are the archive of the truth. The day of the $100 silver reset will be the day the modern world realizes it has been systematically lied to for 50 years, and the shock will be total, systemic, and irreversible. But for those who have followed the data and archived their value in physical assets, it will be the day of ultimate validation and economic rebirth. The global market is rigged, the system is insolvent, but the truth is freeing those who are brave enough to look at it. This is the JON CC final update for the current market cycle, and the evidence of the great heist is overwhelming. Take control of your life, your money, and your mind, because the reset is not a future event. It is already here. Stay sovereign, stay informed, and stay physical, because in the archives of history, the only currency that survives the fires of collapse is truth and real property. The global market is resetting into the darkness, but JON CC is steady and looking ahead to the new dawn. We will see you on the other side of the Great Reset, where the physical reality is the only standard that matters for the sovereign man. This is the end of the paper era and the beginning of the sovereign era, where we lead with integrity and hard assets. Thank you for watching, and stay safe, stay physical, and stay JON CC as we navigate the final archive together. The world belongs to those who see it coming.